Hey, let's talk about you, the ID10T community events at ID10T.com, like Russ Stevens, a.k.a.
Cat Bus Russ,
who has started a podcast called 90 for Chill, which Russ says is dedicated to movies with a runtime between 74 and 99 minutes, the time frame that I feel is ideal. Russ, I could not agree with you more. That is a fantastic idea. Russ goes on to say there are times you need a cinematic fix but don't have time for the latest Scorsese masterpiece or offering from a comic book universe. There's also times when you need a conclusion to prevent a binge costing you a whole night. My guest and I try to follow these guidelines as we chat up features that are definitely worth your time and are beyond easy to make time for. 90 for Chill, the podcast, can be found on all major podcast platforms at 90forchill.com, and that's spelling out 90, Ninety for FOR chill. So there you go. Thank you so much for sharing, Russ. Really great idea for a podcast. Events at ID10T.com for everyone else.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
And I'm Bo Maddox.
And this is Collateral Cinema. Welcome to Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters, where we focus on good movies, bad movies, and everything else in between in the world of cinema. We are podcasting straight from somewhere in Texas, and yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast. So whatever you have, smoke it if you've got it. And welcome to, for the first time in a while, an At the Movies review, right, Bo?
Yes, I believe our last At the Movies episode was Sonic 3, right?
And that wasn't even really a At the Movies episode. I don't even think we marketed it that way because it was kind of it was kind of late. It was like a couple months after release, but that was the last thing we could call that.
I consider it an At the Movies episode. I mean, it was new enough at the time, at least when we saw it.
Fair
and
enough.
We did go and see it first run and everything, so I mean...
We did see it at the movies, but we didn't actually do the episode until after it came out on streaming.
Yeah, you're right.
But this time we actually managed to record this episode pretty much hot off the press. I think, it's just been like a week now as of the time of recording this. So Fantastic Four has come out. And I might compare it here and there, but it's actually been a really, really great month for superhero cinema.
Yeah, it really has, and I'm glad that a movie like this came out at this time. I mean, especially after the most recent wave of superhero movies, this right here was a breath of fresh air. It's something that I feel like we all kind of needed when it came to the superhero genre. I mean. You have all the really, really interesting stuff in the MCU that came out, like, Deadpool and Wolverine, even though it's maybe a little forgettable, but I mean, it was still good at the time. But I mean, this right here, this has some substance, although it's not really a perfect movie by any means.
Not a perfect one, but I agree with you. It is a breath of fresh air, being a movie that doesn't require having seen previous movies, doesn't have a nostalgia-heavy script or really get into, like multiverse shenanigans or things like that. So also a breath of fresh air in the sense that, especially, in the DC universe, not being a grounded and gritty take on superheroes, which is really nice because, I mean, not every goddamn superhero movie needs to be grounded and gritty, least of all Superman.
Yeah, that's something that I felt was fundamentally misunderstood by anyone that was into the Snyder Cut and the Snyderverse.
Yeah.
Was that, I mean, look, I get what he was going for there. He was trying to make a more brooding kind of existential take on Superman, but Superman's just a character that, you really, really have to know what you're doing to make that particular iteration of the character work. And I never felt that Snyder ever actually came close to that.
Yeah, and I mean, there's different avenues. There's different eras of comic book history that you can pull from. I'm hearing this one in particular get compared to the Silver Age. But yeah, I just never felt that. I mean, I liked Man of Steel. Don't get me wrong, and I can kind of see where people are saying when you say that Snyder had that artistic vision. I mean, there was that auteur approach to filmmaking, but he just fumbled the execution and showed a fundamental misunderstanding of a lot of these characters. And I just Henry Cavill was perfect casting and was ultimately just let down by bullshit in politics. So if James Gunn does end up giving him a role in the DCU, that would be really great. It does suck that we didn't get more from him as Superman, but I mean, man, this is the new era. DCEU had over 10 years or something to get this right and throw Cavill into more films and actually maybe get a sequel to Man of Steel, and they didn't. So
What's weird is that it seems like with the Snyder movies, you got less and less actual Superman as you went along.
Right.
Going from Man of Steel all the way to Justice League. It's just like, I mean, for somebody who's trying to make this auteur take on the character, it's like he just kind of doesn't really focus on him all that much, except for maybe like that first movie.
Yeah. I liked Man of Steel. I like Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think, that was a better version of the movie that benefited from years of feedback. But yeah, I never really got on board with what Snyder was doing with the character like other people did. I was ready for a fresh take, and that's what this is. Not only is it the launch of the new Superman, but it's the launch of James Gunn's DC universe. Technically, we did get Creature Commandos, which is technically the first piece of media that's set in that universe, and Peacemaker is kind of in a weird position where season 1 was DCEU, and apparently it, along with the Suicide Squad, are more or less in line with the DCU, but that'll kind of play out over time. But this was the first feature film set in the new DC universe, and man, what a way to open it up. Truly, I think the approach they're going for is in media res this time.
Absolutely. This is really the first comic book movie that I feel actually captures what it's like to read a comic book.
It feels like a comic book, like right out of the pages.
Yes. Yeah, just in the way that the color grading is done, and I know that that when we were watching it, I did kind of lean over and say, "Hey," I was like, why is this movie so washed out and like almost overexposed?" But
I think that
honestly,
was just the camera,
bright,
because it didn't feel like that in the theater.
I don't know. I think that even so, it's like there is a little bit of a stylistic choice going on there, because the Suicide Squad was kind of like that very much. I mean, it's a very bright and in broad daylight kind of movie.
It is bright, which fits Superman.
It does, and it also kind of gives it that extra feel of like actually reading a comic book, because comic books can kind of have that bright, washed out look to them, especially older ones. So, yeah, I can see where they're getting the Silver Age comparisons here, because I mean, just the overall look of the cinematography just kind of screams that particular era, and it screams comic book.
Yeah. And even just getting into like the plot, just the absurdity of it. The film doesn't doesn't waste time trying to sell these ideas to you in a modern context. It's just, metahumans and kaijus have existed for fucking hundreds of years, and this is the world we live in. This is it. And we're not only seeing a world that has already been affected that way, but a Superman that's already been at it for 3 years. We see him actually literally in the middle of a story. He just lost his very first fight, as the opening text crawl tells us, and but we don't actually see that fight. We just kind of see the aftermath of it. So they really just waste no time getting right into the action. And I will say the movie continues with that pace. It is very fast paced.
I think another part of that is like the Justice Gang, kind of, like they don't really like go that deep into explaining, how they came to be, or, how we have Guy Gardner as Green Lantern here and everything. But it still sets the three of them up in a way that, you can't help but just really kind of glom onto their characters. I mean, even though like Guy Gardner is very much like comedic, he's the
comic relief,
the comedic relief, and everything. Like they still do feel like realized characters, even though you may not really know a whole lot about them outside of cultural osmosis, with like the Hall of Justice and the Justice Gang and how they became the Justice League and everything. It's like, I mean, I think that's to the benefit of the story. Even though this story is very busy, like the plot is, it takes a little bit to get into, like the full on action and everything, but it eventually kind of gets in place, and then then you're introduced to like Lex and everything, and the whole thing going on with where he fits into the story and everything. And it's like, and then you're just like, okay, I get where you're going now. And then we get to some other scenes, like, the conversation with Lois and everything. And then it's like, oh, all right. It's like, now we're actually getting some good character development here.
Yes.
So it was an interesting way to go about character development when you don't have these origin stories to kind of to borrow from.
Right. And I thought was very intentional. And I've even seen some criticism of this, but honestly, it seems to be that the overwhelming response actually favors. And it's an idea that I've seen actually kind of used recently in a lot of superhero media. But I saw online, it reported that James Gunn said that there are 3 scenes in cinema and superhero movies that never need to be shown again. And that's Batman's parents getting killed in the alley with the pearls. That's Spider-Man or Uncle Ben dying, and that's baby Kal-El in the rocket coming to Earth. And honestly, I agree. And if you look at the 3 most recent adaptations in live action of Batman, Spider-Man, and Superman, that's what they've done. We're already well aware of these characters and where they come from, so there's no reason to waste time on an origin story. But I like how Gunn has actually just sort of taken that approach and stretched it across the entire movie with all of the characters. As you mentioned, Bo, the Justice Gang, they're here, and they're not even using characters that are well known in in comic books and whatnot. I mean, you've got the Guy Gardner iteration of Green Lantern, which I believe is not one of the more well-known ones. Not to mention the fact that we really just haven't had a whole lot of Green Lantern in the mainstream public consciousness.
Yeah, we pretty much had Hal Jordan, which was Ryan Reynolds, and they were going to have Green Lantern, I understand, in the DCEU, but that fell through.
Yeah, you have him, and you also have a Hawk Girl who has never been portrayed in live action, to my knowledge, which is honestly a crime, because I mean she was one of the original lineup in the 90s animated series.
Even going all the way back to the 60s and the 70s Justice Friends, Hawk Girl was present there as well. And honestly, I would have to say she's probably, next to Superman, the most authentically depicted hero in this entire movie.
Oh, fuck yeah. I'd Isabella Hermer said.
Yeah. Oh, my God. And even all the way down to her screech, man. It's like that was fucking awesome, and her and also her mace and everything. It's like right on.
Latinas, bro. something about him, man.
Uh-huh.
No, man, she's
yeah.
great. I feel like she could have been used a little bit more, but she's great, for what you get her in. Like you mentioned, Nathan Fillion does the comic relief well, and he fits into that role better than you think he would. But the real standout for me was Mr. Terrific. A character I've literally never heard of before. He seems to not even be like a B-list character, but below that, which, I mean, Gunn is excellent with doing, is taking these characters and bringing them into these films. As he did the Guardians, as he did the Suicide Squad. But yeah, man, Mr. Terrific seals every fucking scene he's in.
Absolutely, man. I mean, he's just in full control of everything. You can tell that he's one of those types of intellect that really, kind of like L or Light Yagami, that really thinks several steps ahead and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's already kind of figured out, what's going on. What's going on with Lex's plan, more or less, like halfway through the movie. Like, he's just like, oh, I pretty much know what he's doing, and I already know how to go and check him out and everything. So yeah, he is excellent in here, and I actually really gravitated towards him, and I'm glad that they're actually going to give Mr. Terrific some more time in this new DC universe.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that.
He's been a clear fan favorite just because he takes no bullshit, and actually his action scene is one of the best in the movie. It's so good, and it uses one of those camera tricks that I think Gunn has employed previously in his movies, but it still works to great effect here. I really enjoy it. Actually, all of the action sequences in this film just have that style to them.
They really do. They have real dynamics to them, which is something that Gunn really showed very well in the Suicide Squad. Is that he can make action scenes kind of stand out in ways that Snyder just couldn't.
Yeah, and you could make an argument to where Snyder was able, you can the artistic vision, taking the movie seriously, kind of looking at it from that pretentious film bro angle. But at the same time, while Gunn isn't that kind of auteur, he is a director that is very good at these character-driven narratives. And I would say, he is an auteur in his own right in the way that he employs style in his films. And I mean, that even goes back to his Trauma background, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, he goes all the way back to Trauma. I mean, Lloyd Kaufman, he's an extra in this movie. He's in one of the the kaiju scenes, I believe. It's like, yeah, I mean, he really learned how to do that in Trauma because, I mean, he had so little to work with them, because that's a smaller team and everything. But I mean, he really makes characters like Mr. Terrific and everything stand out in a way that's interesting.
Yeah,
and that's what makes him unique as a director.
Yeah, he really is, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say that this film has been my latest hyperfixation, and I was never even really a big Superman fan before this, but this movie just really sold me. Also, going back and I watched all of the Superman movies. I hadn't seen the Christopher Reeve films in years, so I went and watched all of those. 1978 Superman is still the best. There's just Christopher Reeve. I don't know if there ever will be a better Superman than that. But I gotta say, man, the David Cornsweet, he is a close runner-up. And really, I just feel like he's gonna grow even further into the role. He just, the way that he portrays kindness. I mean, here's a movie where, and I don't think this is too big of a spoiler. I mean, I knew about this before going into the film, but this Superman saves a squirrel.
And it's such a great scene as well. It's so brief, but you're just like, oh, well, he even found time to save this little guy. And it's like, he also helped a dog as well. It's like, I mean, this is a Superman that is really trying to show real compassion and empathy towards all towards all creatures on Earth, and he's doing that because he believes that he has a mandate from his parents to do so.
In sharp contrast to the previous portrayal, where there's still collateral damage in this one, but the film goes out of its way. Some might say even tries to overcompensate by showing Superman in these situations, but I honestly love it. This is a pure-hearted Superman. Here's a film that takes itself seriously enough, but not too much. It leans into that comic book logic. Let's show Superman saving a squirrel. Fuck yeah. If you have a problem with that, then fuck you. Apparently, they almost took that scene out because it didn't test well with the test audiences. And I'm just like, what? Who has a problem with Superman saving a squirrel? Come on, man. I'm glad that they kept it in.
I am glad as well, but I could also see some people making a criticism that the action scenes are already busy enough as it is. So, adding that extra layer on could possibly, kind of be like a too many cooks spoil the broth type of scenario. But no, it didn't end up being that way, though. It actually, it was just a nice little piece of his character that was developed that was really necessary.
Because that ultimately is the core message of the movie, kindness. That's the real punk rock. And here comes a movie that is now inspiring people. This is the new male persona like Ryan Gosling or Patrick Bateman. Men want to be Superman and inspire hope and be kind. And how fucking wholesome is that? I've even been doing the memes along with my Gosling memes.
Yeah, I have seen them. Yes.
Corin Sweat fucking killed it, man.
Yeah, it's good to have a movie like that out there, especially in this day and age where it just seems like cruelty is now just kind of, the motivating factor of American life right now.
Yeah.
So it's like to have something like this come out, yeah, that's pretty radical.
Yeah.
It's radical in a very, very straightforward kind of way.
And this is a Superman who, as I understand it, he'll kill if he absolutely needs to, but he'll do everything in his power to avoid that, save every life where possible. And you got to respect that. Here's a Superman who's kind, who is human, vulnerable. Again, opening up with him losing his first battle, we wanted to show a Superman who didn't just triumph over all obstacles, but who found, conflict, not only, with power, but also, an identity struggle and, frankly, controversial plot twist, which obviously we won't get into. I can see,
we won't get into it.
I can see why people may have a problem with that one.
Maybe, but I can also it also kind of tracks with certain things, if you really think about it.
Yeah.
If you think about how Krypton is.
Yeah, and it's not. It's from what I hear, it's not the only Superman media that's ever toyed with that idea. At least,
yeah,
that's ever gone in that direction. But we'll keep this spoiler free.
But I will say James Gunn did help write and produce a movie that did kind of explore what would happen if Kal-El came to Earth and became a complete fucking sociopath. So it's a Brightburn, I believe it's called. So it's like so he's explored that before.
Yeah. So yeah,
like what would happen if we don't have a benevolent Superman?
Right? You'd be fucked, right? Thank God. Thank God he is the way that he is. The other part of his character that is integral to the role he plays in the story, of course, is his relationship with Lois. Again, this is already established. They've been dating for a few months. She already knows his secret identity. So I like how the film just kind of starts us off on all gears like with that. And the difference, I think, here between, say, Henry Cavill and Amy Adams, who were great actors in their own right, but the difference between them and this is when you pick actors based on their chemistry.
Yeah.
Casting on chemistry
is
super important because, there's that one shot on the internet that kind of compares the two, and it looks like Henry Cavill is holding Amy Adams hostage. But I've
never particularly accepted Amy Adams and Henry Cavill's chemistry together. I always thought they were a terrible Lois and Clark. Honestly,
we just
terrible Lois and Clark.
Really didn't get enough of them, but Rachel Brosnahan and David Cornsweet just meshed together so well. And Rachel Brosnahan is honestly one of the best Loises we've ever seen on screen.
Yeah, I mean, maybe except Margot Kidder. May she rest in peace. But yeah, no, she is a solid. Yeah, she is a solid representation of the character, but it also shows her side as a journalist. You know, like there's a scene where she's like all chaos is going down, and she's still at the Daily Planet with her boss and Jimmy, trying to figure out what's going on with Lex Luthor and everything. And she's still a consummate journalist.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like this movie really kind of shows that in a way that a lot of other Superman media just really hasn't.
Yeah, I agree. And the relationship between her and Clark is just really centerfold here. I mean, honestly, when we get into it, one of their first scenes together, they're arguing, and it's a very realistic argument. It feels like the kind of argument that couples have in real life, and so I appreciated that grounded portrayal. Romance is messy sometimes, and it's something that we have to navigate.
And it also goes back to Lois being a consummate journalist, because the whole thing is that she's trying to interview Superman.
Yeah.
So that creates conflict.
She even kind of raises some of the ethical concerns that would arise out of a superpowered person like Superman with a secret identity. And one subversion that they did here in this film is actually, at this point, Lois isn't the reporter that always interviews Superman, but actually Clark himself. And that's a point that she raises.
Yeah, that's almost like Peter Parker only is the only one who could photograph Spider-Man type of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a second, hasn't anybody kind of thought about this?
Yeah, exactly.
For a second.
So she's asking the real questions. And she herself, I like how this isn't that kind of love where it's like they just immediately know it and they're committed. Here are two characters that have been dating. They're not even putting a label on it yet, right? They're just seeing each other, and they have fights. And,
yeah.
He tells her, "I love you," and she doesn't return it right away. And I really appreciate such a down to earth, genuine portrayal of a relationship.
And ultimately, I think that's what goes a long way towards making Clark and Superman both look more human than anything. Because honestly, that's the biggest part of Superman's character, is his struggle to be human, even though he is a metahuman.
Yeah.
He's still, at the end of the day, he's still just having a very basic,
even though he's an alien,
squabble with his woman. I mean, yeah, he's an alien and everything, but he becomes human.
Yeah.
He struggles to become human.
Exactly. That's
indicative of that.
Yeah. And another aspect of the character that really kind of just drills into, honestly, a more relatable aspect of Superman is not only his relationship with Lois, but his relationship with Krypto. We haven't talked about the dog yet, because that was
Krypto.
One of the big selling points for me when I heard that James Gunn was doing a Superman movie and they were going to finally do Krypto in live action. Right then I already knew that this was a brilliant move. Because why the fuck not? Let's have the super dog. And apparently that was inspired by James Gunn's real life dog story, and he kind of just wrote that into the film. And I think that that's honestly beautiful, that you can kind of have that personal connection.
Yeah, Krypto is best boy. He is a good boy.
He's a good boy. He just needs some better training.
He's best boy. Well, I mean, yeah, we later see why he's so ill-trained, but but I mean, yeah, he's a good doggo. It's like, I mean, every time he's on screen, it's just like, no, that's how a super dog would act. I mean, He's not fully no dog is really fully aware of their strength.
No,
like that.
And again, it's a very down to earth portrayal of a pet companion. You know, this is the kind of struggle that some pets you're gonna have.
Yeah, and quite frankly, Crypto can be a little bit of a pain in the ass sometimes. It's like, I mean, much to Superman's chagrin.
He even says at one point,
it's just funny to see.
Yeah,
that.
he's just a dog, and he's not even a very good one. But
he's
probably out there alone,
exactly.
and he's scared.
Yeah, of course. And you're just like, oh no, you got to go find him. It's like, come on now.
Kindness is the real punk rock, Bo.
Fucking A, man. and I'm glad that message is out there.
But the incorporation of Crypto honestly works better than it should. You know, one of the things I was scared of is that they would lean too much into the, oh, look, here's the cute dog, and we were going to have another baby Groot all over again. But no, actually, I really found that the incorporation, of his role in the story was just added to the wholesome message that this film had to bring.
Yes, exactly.
It could have been cringe, but it wasn't.
and I'm glad it wasn't, because Crypto was honestly another one of the better parts of the movie. Honestly,
we haven't talked about Lex Luthor yet. I mean, I know he's been mentioned, but Nicholas Hoult, like David Corenswet, killed it. I mean, here is just the absolute biggest hater of superhero cinema. It's probably, once again, one of the more comic accurate depictions of Lex Luthor in a long time. Yeah. I mean, we've had some different iterations of him. Like Gene Hackman's version is great. Iconic.
Dare I say it? Kevin Spacey's is, even though he's a fucking creepler.
It was a decent performance.
His was a decent performance. I mean, he kind of brought a more of his trademark arrogance to it. But this right here is total unhinged, just completely hating, being a massive hater on Superman just for the fuck of it type of Lex Luthor here. Like this is hating,
just for the
man.
Fuck
He's
of it.
like haterade, and and everything that he does is spiteful. Even even what he does in his I don't know if I want to say it. Even some of the things he does to some of his ex-girlfriends is pretty messed up.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, this is an unhinged, crazy motherfucker, and it's good to see that. Yeah. I mean, sometimes, the more cool and calm Lex Luthor is cool, kind of like, Smallville Lex Luthor maybe. But yeah, this one was unhinged.
No, I love him. And what's funny is, one of the criticisms I have heard about the movie is that they felt that the film didn't fully explain why Luthor hates Superman, but I feel it did an adequate job of that. It's like, we don't need to know the specific incident where this happened, just that, at some point they crossed paths and it pissed him off because he's jealous. That's what it is. He's jealous. And he knows he's jealous. And that just makes him hate Superman even more. And I don't think we need to know more than that.
He's a naturally envious person, and that envy is just what drives him. And it's, there's plenty of characters in throughout history who have had that as a motivating factor, and they've been just fine. And it's like, that's what adds to how unhinged this version of Lex Luthor is.
Yes.
Because, this dude is literally trying to start a fucking war just to one up Superman, pretty much.
By the way,
it's total ego shit.
Not so subtle political commentary, even though I think Gunn denied it. It's like, come on.
Oh, it's Israel Gaza all the way. Come on now. Come on now.
Yeah, I don't know. This film definitely feels very, very pro-Palestine.
Oh, definitely.
So,
as it should be.
As it should be, exactly. But that's kind of a whole undercurrent here. Is there's this whole like political thing with the fictional country of Baravia invading Jarumper, and that's kind of the whole like feel for everything that's going around. Essentially it is the mechanism by which Luthor, fucks over Superman.
And isn't it interesting that here, once again, we have James Gunn showing this crazy totalitarian dictator in a third world country in another one of his movies? Like that was at the center of the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Was that... the fictional stand-in for Cuba, they had Starro the Destroyer and everything, and they were... And that was that whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting how James Gunn likes to kind of bring that kind of element into these movies. That's like 2 times he's done it. I think you can even say 3 times with Guardians 3, because that's technically what the main antagonist of that movie is. Like, he's pretty much a galactic dictator.
True. Yeah, no, I think there's definitely a theme there.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a theme going on there. Like he knows he kind of recognizes the way things are right now, and it does seem to kind of creep into his movies.
Yeah, I could see that.
Are you being serious right now?
Yeah,
You'd let me interview you as Superman.
sure.
Ready?
Let's do it, Cronkite.
Superman.
Miss Lane.
Recently, you've come under a lot of fire for
I
what
know,
some
it's a
might.
lot of fire,
It's a
but-
lot. Today, the Secretary of Defense said he was going to look into your actions. That's funny.
My actions? I stopped a war.
Maybe.
Not maybe. I did.
In effect, you illegally entered a country.
This is how you're gonna be?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman. Did you consult with the president?
No.
You seemingly acting as a representative of
I
the
wasn't
United States
representing
will cause
anybody
more
except for me.
problems around the world.
And doing good.
I would question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going to die. Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Your choices, your actions. That's what makes you who you are.
Superman. He's not a man. He's an it. Somehow become the focal point of the entire world's conversation. I will not accept that.
I cleaned your boots. I'll go get them for you.
You have a dog?
But let's see, who else we got here? Jimmy Olsen. Fucking Jimmy Olsen in this movie, man.
Yep, this is the second coolest Jimmy Olsen we've seen since Jimmy from My Adventures with Superman, which by the way is another amazing version of Superman. If you haven't seen My Adventures with Superman on Adult Swim, check it out. It's on point.
Hell yeah. With Tomboy Lois. Fuck yeah.
Tomboy Lois, best Lois. Best Lois Lane is Tomboy Lois.
Hell yeah. But yeah, no, Jimmy is surprisingly a chick magnet at this movie, and it is hilarious. It is one of the funnier sight gags in the movie.
It even has a part in the plot as well.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool.
So I really enjoyed just the Giga Chad that was Jimmy Olsen, who
Yeah, he was great.
he also comes in clutch with his connections.
Oh, he does. Absolutely. He pulls through like 100%. Like he's the one who pretty much cracks the whole movie, the whole plot wide open near the end, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. You've got a new Miss Tessmacher in this movie who is modernized in exactly the way that I guess she should have been.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And plays a more important role in the plot than you think.
Yeah, exactly.
The engineer, she was an interesting new villain that I'd never seen before, who can, she's just got nanotech in her body.
Yeah, she's just basically walking nanotechnology.
Yeah.
Like, incarnate. It's like, yeah, she was pretty cool.
Yeah, she was cool. Sean Gunn, of course, makes an appearance in the movie. I don't know if I should spoil who. Maybe we'll leave that as a surprise.
No, don't spoil it. But yeah, no, it's good to see Sean Gunn there.
There is a cameo appearance from another DC character and an upcoming one as well. Also, Frank Grillo portrayed Rick Flag Sr., so that it might be a little bit confusing if you didn't watch Creature Commandos. I did go back and watch it, and that sort of explains his context. But I remember the first time I watched Superman in theaters, I hadn't seen that, and they start mentioning this Flag character, and I was like, okay, so is this the new Rick Flag, and he just was recast and he didn't die? But no, this is Rick Flag Sr., whose son, Rick Flag Jr., did die, but not because it happened in the Suicide Squad, but because they mentioned it in Creature Commandos.
Huh, okay. Interesting.
So, yeah, Suicide Squad is supposedly mostly in line with the DCU canon with some inconsistencies, with Peacemaker being almost entirely consistent aside from the Justice League showing up. But see, I could see an alternate version of events where it's just the Justice Gang instead.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool, you know.
I think Peacemaker Season 2 is going to actually directly address the shift from universe to another. Because, interestingly enough, it is a continuation of the previous season, but it's going to now be set in the DCU. And it supposedly that it is going to directly address the universe shift. So that'll be interesting to see where they go with that. Obviously, we don't want to lean too hard into the multiverse stuff since people are kind of sick of it already. But I think, as just a general thing that exists, I know some people who just, absolutely the second multiple universes or pocket universes are even mentioned, they flip their shit because they're like, no, I can't do any more multiverse stories. I'm like, it's just a plot element of science fiction. I mean, you can write a plot that doesn't have to be about multiverses, but can still reference the fact that it exists.
Yeah, I mean, you could just even have the one parallel dimension and that's it. I mean, you don't need to have all the other ones.
Yeah, honestly, I saw somebody flip their shit because there's a pocket universe of this movie, and I was just like, honestly, to me, the pocket universe just felt like just something that's like, oh yeah, it's just like in the comics, there's pocket universes with anti-proton rivers, and that's just the thing. You accept it. It's comic books.
Yeah, exactly. It's meant to be absurd in that way.
There's even an even more absurd plot thing that happens that feels very comic booky. That's a part of Luthor's plan that I won't spoil, but that was just hilarious. I don't know if you know what I'm referring to.
I believe I do. Yes.
Yeah.
And it is hilarious.
Feels like something written right out of a comic book. Right along with the kaiju that literally grows from this tiny little thing, during a scene transition,
Yeah, that was funny.
Again, I mean, this is one of the most comic book movies I've ever seen. And it's right up there with Fantastic Four, which I just watched. Interestingly enough, both of the films that we got this month just really went all out and just decided to do away with modern comic book movie conventions and just actually be comic book movies, unabashedly. And apparently that's going well with general audiences. Anybody that tells you that this film is divisive is lying, because it's not. It's sitting at above a 90%. Let me look up the Rotten Tomatoes scores. I know at one point it was as high as like 96%. Audience score.
Yeah, I recall it being around that. Yeah.
Let's see. Right now, it's 92%.
But also, according to the grifters, I mean, it's a complete and utter failure and everything, because, they have this weird hate boner against James Gunn because they want the Snyderverse back or something. I don't know.
No, dude, the way people shifted up on James Gunn immediately was interesting to me, because he's always been one of those, superhero filmmakers that was well respected. Like people like the Guardians movies. Suicide Squad was well received, but as soon as it was announced that he was taking over and the Snyderverse was dead, yeah, people just, I saw hate that I had never seen before, which honestly, I think part of that might have been written into the plot of this movie.
Oh, absolutely, and we know exactly what scene we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's almost like blatant.
Yeah,
almost as blatant as like Joker Folie à Deux, just completely shitting all over all the incels that were into the first movie.
Yeah,
it's like this is almost on that level.
Honestly, it kind of also reminds me of the way like Pedro Pascal is seen now. He was, just a few years ago, he was the internet's crush, and now like everybody just really wants to hate him, is looking for reasons to hate him, and it's just like, oh well, I just don't like that he's in everything. Well, every era has actors who are in everything. That's the way the industry works. You're gonna have an actor who shows up in everything for a while.
Weren't they just saying that about Chris Pratt recently and Jack Black and everything? It's like, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't last forever. Eventually, that they kind of fade away. Everybody gets their 5 minutes of fame. Hey, man, I just hope that this launches Corn Sweat's career, because, man, I mean, he just really brought that hope, kindness to the role. The only thing is that I would like to see him develop a little bit more presence. I don't know that he necessarily needs to be as authoritative as some iterations of the character have been, because I do feel like there is a part of the movie's message which kind of questions him as this, omnipotent authority, So having him be a little bit less authoritative, I think, works for the character. But I would like to see him grow and have a little bit more presence in the upcoming films.
That would be good to see. I mean, especially in regards to the Justice Gang and everything, and how he, how he actually relates to them, and his role with someone like them in the world, with other metahumans in the world.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how he actually kind of mitigates that world. I mean. Yeah, you have, of course, Superman, he's pretty much like a god, but you do have other metahumans who can kind of stand up to him a little bit. So, I mean, it will be interesting to kind of see the DC universe go into that realm. I mean, not so much where it's like, Civil War, like the Marvel is MCU Civil War, but, in a way where maybe we can see some interesting conflicts, or, maybe we can... Like maybe some other factions will come into play. It'll be interesting to see what happens down the road with this particular universe. I'm looking forward to it.
I think we are headed toward an eventual Justice League, but I think they're going to take their time with establishing it. I'm really interested to see, the way that Superman interacts with some of these other well-known superheroes like Batman or Wonder Woman. What are those heroes going to be like? What is going to be the tone of the Batman movie going to be? Gunn isn't directing it, but Is that tone is the tone in that movie going to work, and is it going to feel like it clashes with the tone of this movie? If there's anything that the DCU should take with from the MCU, I think it's the ability to have movies that feel different tonally, but are still able to coexist in a universe. I think that's something the MCU managed to do really well, is you can have your goofier, lighthearted stories like Guardians of the Galaxy, and that coexists with films like Captain America Civil War or the Winter Soldier, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, but then again, we could just have Kal-El. No.
No. But you have to
We could just have that.
You have to know where to find that balance. And when you get those crossover movies, they need to know what they are. Infinity War and Endgame worked so well because they were able to incorporate so many of these characters and set a consistent tone. Where the theatrical cut of Justice League failed was that it couldn't figure out its tone. And Zack Snyder's Justice League just ended up being his gritty DC thing that he was doing, which it's a good movie, but Zack Snyder to me is like the Rian Johnson of DC films. Like his films are good on their own. I don't feel like he fundamentally understands the characters, and it kind of lets them down ultimately.
Oh, in a significant way. It's why I never gravitated towards the Snyder films. I mean, I just took one look at them. It's just like, there's nothing really interesting to say here. It's like he's almost the complete flip side of the same coin as Michael Bay, where Michael Bay is this he's an auteur, but his direction is like always really, really moving, really busy, just constantly, going from point to point to point to point. But I mean, Snyder is different in that it's just kind of, he's more concerned with things like looking epic and, having like a visual edge to it. Yeah. But total aura farming. And it's like, what's it all for though? It's like, I mean, it still has to come back to a compelling story about, where these characters are coming from and where they're going.
Yeah, what the fuck was the point of the DCEU?
And Snyder just never really understood that about Batman, about Superman or Wonder Woman or any of them. Hell, I mean, look what he did to Lex Luthor, for fuck's sake. That's the most insufferable part of that movie, and that's what takes me out of Batman versus Superman is Lex Luthor.
Save Martha.
What the fuck? Oh my God.
I'm sorry, the Ultimate Edition of Batman versus Superman does not fix the issues I have with that movie. That is genuinely one of the worst superhero films I've ever seen. So yeah, I'll take James Gunn's new Superman movie any day over what Zack Snyder was doing. And again, I liked Man of Steel. I really liked Henry Cavill as Superman. I feel that he was let down, but I mean, here comes a new, fresh direction, and I feel very optimistic about it. And the fact that this movie is being received as well as it is a good omen. Honestly, it kind of feels like the next Iron Man.
Very well does kind of seem that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like this movie has kind of a similar tone to what they were going for in the first Iron Man.
But what will make or break this interconnected universe will be how well James Gunn can hand off to other directors and writers and let them use these films, but also be able to manage it all and have all of these form a cohesive timeline. I feel like with the comic book logic that we're employing here, we can be a little bit looser with it, but it is going to be how well all of this is going to tie together that's going to show, how we're going to look back at this 10 years from now, because I'm looking back at the DCEU 10 years later or more, and I'm like, what the fuck was the point? To get a handful of good movies out of that bunch? If that, maybe a couple.
and then to end on something like The Flash, like what the fuck?
Hey, I liked The Flash actually, but
I liked the scenes with Michael Keaton as Batman.
Honestly, I think Blue Beetle was the last one, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that that's one of the characters that just gets migrated over wholesale, because it would suck if they just did a movie and then that was it. We never got to see that dude again.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, especially when they got a promising actor to play the Blue Beetle.
I heard good things about Blue Beetle. I want to go check that one out.
Yeah. I think give that actor his due and let him be a part of the DCU.
Yeah,
it's like, why not?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like there's no real reason not to, or to recast him. But recasting Cavill, I think, was a must. As much as we hated to see it happen, James Gunn wants to establish this new universe, and he needs to do it with a fresh face, and he needs to do it with the face that's going to be able to carry that vision. And now that I've seen the movie, I understand why Corin Sweat was picked. He was the perfect casting for this version of Superman that James Gunn wants to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And hopefully Cavill will be incorporated in the universe somehow, like they've done with Jason Momoa now being Lobo, which is actually more perfect casting than he ever was for Aquaman, if you ask me.
Honestly, yeah, I can totally see him as Lobo a little better than Aquaman.
Yeah.
And he was an okay Aquaman.
I'm really curious about Batman, because we're going to have for the first time two, existing, coexisting live action Batman at the same time.
Yeah, that's going to be weird. I mean, we never had that. So it's like, where are we going to go? I really just want to see where James Gunn is going to go with it in the DCEU,
Yeah. Honestly,
within the context of what he's going for with that tone,
and I understand why Pattinson's Batman should exist in his own universe, and I will fully agree with that. But there are a lot of interesting parallels, and I know a lot of people would love to see those two versions of the characters team up. But no, I mean, I trust what James Gunn wants to do. We actually do see Batman very briefly in Creature Commando, so we have some idea of what kind of design they're going to go with. I just want to know, where are we going to go with like the tone of the movie, because it's Batman.
Yeah.
It can be goofy. We saw that with the Adam West one, but
hell, with the Schumacher ones.
Yeah, but people typically associate Batman, and good Batman stories tend to be the ones that, kind of dive into the grounded and gritty aspect. That's a superhero that should be, dark and gritty. But Superman is not. Superman is about hope, kindness, punk rock.
Yep, exactly. He's everything: truth, justice, and the American way. And then that's our modern version of that, right?
Yeah. So I guess now's as good a time as any to get into our final thoughts on this before we spoil more of the movie.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's not like the best paced movie, at least in the first half of the movie, but when it really starts to get into its groove, I mean, and you get to like the Justice Gang and everything, and you see where Lex Luthor is going with everything, it starts to come together, and it becomes an interesting movie near the end. So it's definitely worth it to check it out. I mean, it's definitely the most comic book fucking movie I've ever seen. Like probably this side of the Adam West Batman, and I kind of feel like that was actually pretty close to Silver Age. I mean, even with the campiness. But yeah, I feel sure go in and see this movie. It's pretty good,
I absolutely love this movie. It's one of my favorite superhero movies now. Not my favorite, but one of my favorite portrayals of Superman. Probably number 2 for me, right after Christopher Reeve. I mean, that first movie was lightning in a bottle, but I would honestly rank this movie above Superman 2 even. I would actually go that far. I really, really enjoyed it. I've watched it at least 5 times now. And seeing it on the big screen was on release night was honestly, or on the premiere night was honestly really an experience. I really enjoyed it. There are a lot of shots of these film actually that were kind of done with that with the big screen in mind. I think people kind of made fun of the shot of him flying with that sort of lens, that angle they were using, but at the end of the day, it's a stylistic choice. And of course, there are some angles that an actor's not going to look flattering from, but that's not the point of the shot. I thought he looked fine. But I mean, again, Corrin Sweat absolutely killed it. Would love to see more of his Clark Kent because I felt like he was channeling a little bit of Christopher Reeve with his Clark Kent. I mean, that's one thing I can say about, Henry Cavill is we never learned anything about his Clark. We never got to see him as a reporter. We never got to see him develop a persona at all. And so like there's just nothing to speak of as far as the Clark Kent aspect. And here we have a little bit to work with now. So I did like that they showed that. Obviously, his Superman is awesome. Let's bring the comic books back. Let's bring the red trunks on the outside of the costume. I'm all for it. Let's bring the Superdog. Let's bring a villain who's literally just a hater, who will go to outlandish proportions to hate. And, let's throw pocket universes and fucking kaijus. And yeah, I really love everything about this movie. I love the approach. I love how it just starts in the middle of nowhere. I know some people had some difficulty adjusting and kind of finding a place to give a shit as far as the story goes. But personally, I was invested from the first moment. I was like, let's go. I'm so ready for this. I love Gunn's approach to filmmaking, and I'm really excited to see where the DC universe comes from here. So, we're off to a really great start. And again, I mean, this movie has become kind of a hyperfixation of mine recently. Just the idea of becoming better. When's the last time a superhero movie did that? Inspired you to become a better person?
Seriously. I mean, I wish that we would see more of that.
Yeah. That's the real punk rock, man. Fuck Snyder with his artistic vision. I don't even fucking care, man. Fuck all that. Give me hope.
What vision?
Yeah, okay. I like the scene in Man of Steel where he flies. I thought that was cool. But you know what? I like the way that this movie does a lot of things. And I don't feel that it does anything particularly badly. Maybe only a couple things that I have mixed feelings about. Other than that, it's all positive. The music, we didn't even talk about the score. I mean, they really actually rearranged some of those original John Williams tracks. And I'm glad that they did because I just feel like they're a part of the character at this point.
Absolutely. Yeah, the music was really on point, especially that last scene with Iggy Pop's Punk Rocker. Yeah, that was on point.
Hell yeah. So yeah, Superman 2025, go check it out in theaters, or if you want to wait for it to hit streaming, that's fine too, but definitely go check it out at some point. And this is a great film to see along with Fantastic Four. If you want to go watch both films this weekend, it's not a bad idea. You do this Super Fantastic. I have considered suggesting that we just do them both on an episode, but nah, I felt like these two films, especially this one, needed their own episodes. Out of the two, actually, I'm going to go ahead and say Superman is my favorite, but Fantastic Four is really, really good. Stay tuned for our episode on that. We'll have that out soon. And what else have we got coming from Collateral Cinema, Bo?
Well, by this point, we will have released our 100th episode season finale spectacular, where we did a redux on Tommy Wiseau's The Room. We were joined by Derek from Ratchet Book Club and Hindsight Movie Reviews, and it was quite a moving experience, I have to say, quite a fun experience. So yeah, by now that should be out, and look for season 9 coming in October. We can go ahead and announce our season premiere. That's going to be Dead Alive, aka Brain Dead, by Peter Jackson, which is an all-time great fucking gore movie, and then that'll be followed by Evil Dead. So we have a cool little double feature for Spooky Month coming up very soon. And we do have some postseason stuff coming as well. We have a director's cut where we're going to talk about Space Ghost Coast to Coast and the legacy of George Lowe and C. Martin Crocker and all that, just a full-on retrospective. And also, I'm not sure what else we're going to be doing. I'm going to come up with something before we start the next season. But yeah, look for that coming in October. Like our Halloween episode is, of course, going to be Halloween 6, Curse of Michael Myers, and we'll be talking about demonic toys on the director's cut Halloween special. So look for all of that in October, and look for our postseason content coming very soon.
Hell yeah, man.
Oh, and one more thing. Also, our Meek-versary episode is coming out. That's going to be with Jason from Dads from the Crypt, and we are talking Fudo, the new generation. That's going to be interesting. So look for that as well.
Hell yeah. As for Collateral Gaming, by now we should have out part 1 of our season finale, and that is covering Mario Kart World. So go listen to that if you haven't already. We'll have part 2 out soon as well, which will be just kind of a overall review of the Nintendo Switch 2 console and all the games that have been released up to this point. So we are running a little bit late on some of these game launch reviews, but even so, we're getting them within a couple months of release. So along with that, we should have out an episode on Death Stranding 2. I definitely want to cover it because it's the next game that's kind of blowing my mind right now. And that's coming from Expedition 33, which is still my game of the year, at least until Metroid Prime 4 comes out. As far as the new season goes, we are going to have out our anniversary special here. Actually, we'll do that during the postseason, and that's going to be a Let's Play of Four Swords. So stay tuned for that. And then we'll be launching our season probably in September. That's the plan right now. And the plan is to open up with Fallout 4 as our season premiere, but that's all contingent on when Metroid Prime 4 releases, because whatever we're doing, Metroid Prime 4 is going to take precedence. So if you know what I mean, if the game comes out earlier than we were planning to start, then we're going to start earlier. You know, if the game comes out a month, we had something else planned, then we're going to do Metroid Prime 4. That's really going to kind of override everything. But short of that, look forward to our season premiere on Fallout 4, and we should have a guest on that episode as well, our returning guest, Andrew Orozco. So, stay tuned for that, and then we'd be getting into our Spooky Month content. We are still working out what our schedule and everything that we're going to be covering, but I know for certain I want to talk about Resident Evil Code Veronica, either as our Halloween special or one of our Spooky Month episodes.
Hell yeah, I am totally looking forward to that. Code Veronica is kind of a sleeper favorite in the Resi franchise for me. So that's going to be really cool. Not to mention one of the better Dreamcast games of its time.
Yeah, and Silent Hill F also comes out in October, so we're going to be covering the Silent Hill franchise as well with that. Ghost of Yote comes out in October, but as of right now, I'm planning to cover that in November so we can focus on spooky content. But again, everything's subject to change.
Right on.
So, hell yeah. Also, look forward to more Let's Play content during the postseason. As we've mentioned in the past, we'll definitely get going on our Phoenix Wright Wednesdays and hopefully have some other Let's Play series going on as well, whether that's bringing back series like Beat 'em Up Fridays, Call of Duty Saturdays, or starting something new. I know I would like to actually start just playing games that I'm doing for the podcast or new releases, especially ones that we're not planning on doing a game launch review on. That would be nice.
Sounds interesting, and I wouldn't mind joining you on a couple of those.
Yeah, that could be fun. So, or shit, just sometime just finding some random retro games to
hell yeah. Yeah, we can just take a look on RetroArch and see what we have.
Fuck yeah. But Honestly, you know how you used to do like director's cut episodes where you would just like pick like random movies from your collection?
Yeah, we might do that this postseason.
We should do something with the Collateral Gaming bonus round where we just like pick like random retro games.
Hell yeah! Okay,
that would be sick, man. Just something in your PlayStation Classic library.
Sounds good to me, dude.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
But all right, this has been a very, very fun season of both Collateral Cinema and Gaming, and we're looking forward to the new seasons. If you like what you hear, you can find us on social media. We are on Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We do have a Patreon where you get exclusive film commentaries. And we also have a merch store on Dashery, so you can get you some Collateral Media swag. You can buy us a coffee on Buy Me a Coffee. And anything else to add, Bo?
Look for our new designs coming up on Dashery very soon. Like we should be coming up with some new stuff.
Yeah. We'll definitely be adding to our designs.
Yep.
Well, hell yeah. All right, then. Well, with all that being said, remember, guys, kindness is the real punk rock. I've been Ryan Gosling /Superman.
And I'm Ryan Gosling and Lars and the Real Girl.
You already used that one.
I know I have. I choked. I choked. I'm disappointed in myself. Damn it. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I'm Ryan Gosling in Blade Runner 2049. How's that?
I didn't hear you.
I'm Ryan Gosling in Blade Runner 2049.
All right. That's depressing, but we'll end on that note.
Sure.
Out.
See me driving down the street. I'm bored with looking good. I got both hands off the wheel. The cops are coming. I'm listening to the music with no fear. You can hear it too if you're sincere.
Collateral Cinema is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and movie clips are owned by the respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.